The Writer's Dossier podcast is a proud member of the Authors on the Air Global Radio Network.
Hey, everybody, this is Travis Davis, and this is my Writer's Dossier.
No writers were harmed in the production of this podcast.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Writer's Dossier. You're going to enjoy this one because we are going in a really cool direction with my friend, my pal, a guy who helped me out at the beginning, Travis Davis. There he is. How you doing, brother?
Hey, good. Thank you very much, man. I really appreciate you being on. No, I'm not in Rotenburg of the Tauber, Germany. I'm in a beer garden in my backyard.
Yes,
So,
you are in a
thank
beer
you.
garden in your backyard, but when we came on, what did I tell you about your backdrop before any of us said anything?
You knew where it was. You had already done a check and looked at the intelligence that you have on your computer and identified exactly where we're based on a 10-digit grid coordinates.
We zeroed right in on your location and figured out all the ins and outs. No, Rotenburg on the Tauber in Germany is an amazing, beautiful place.
Yeah.
So iconic. Yeah. And you have a lot of history there. I know we talked in your original Writer's Dossier that we collected and disseminated on you. It's at thewritersdossier.com. Look up Travis Davis there and find out more about him. But we talked about Germany and your time there. You did some really cool stuff. I mean, it goes back to like Berlin's kind of stuff.
Yeah, my first tour in Germany was the 2nd Armored Cavalry Regiment, 3rd Squadron, and we did the Czech border up to the East-West German border. And then I went back 3-7 Cav, 3rd Infantry Division, where we guarded the East German border before the 11th ACR sector took over, the Coburg sector. And I actually, I saw communism at firsthand. I saw the difference in, not culture, but just looked like from a black and white movie to a color movie. It was that drastic of a change. And so I did many patrols there. I was a senior operations sergeant at the border camp for a while. And then went back to Germany, 364 Armor, 3rd Infantry Division, as a scout platoon sergeant. So I've done my fair share walking up and down that border and saw, firsthand, from me to, 3 feet to the Grenzhofklär, which is the East German military that was allowed to go by the border, because the fence, the fence was the border. So fence was about, maybe 10, 15, 20 feet in already East Germany. So if you were touching the fence, you were in East Germany, and the next day you'd be gone out of Germany on a flight back to the States.
Das ist nicht gut.
Nee, it's nicht gut. It's ganz scheiße.
That's like the DMZ. There's the DMZ, and then there's the little bit in the middle there. Which,
yes, so that little tiny.
There's a little tiny bit. I remember going into one of those buildings there in the DMZ, and there was a table. It was the negotiation room. North Koreans would come in one end, South Koreans would come in the other, and there was a table, and the microphone cords ran down the middle. That was the line. So Germany, it was so neat back then. And for those who are a little swimming in the acronyms, ACR means Travis played with a bunch of big tanks and stuff like that.
Armored Cavalry Regiment.
Armored Cavalry Regiment. So yeah, really cool place, really neat history. And you've been able to bring some of that history and formulated some stories from your background and the backgrounds of others who you've had the privilege to know over the last several years. And the first thing that you did that really landed a bomb was One of Four right here. This Travis Davis, it's a historical fiction. This guy, I mean, this got submitted for a Pulitzer, folks. Yeah. That's how impactful 104 was. And now you are coming out with something new because you have this series, this 20th century war stories that you've been focusing on. You've done Cobalt and you've done some other thrillers, which are really cool and now timely. You were a little ahead of yourself on some of that stuff. But now coming out October 16th, War on the Porch. And I had the privilege of seeing some of this, and I love the transition. So tell us a little bit about this new book, War on the Porch, and the synopsis of what it's about and how people might react to it.
Yeah. So first thing, I write from the perspective of a private or an NCO in the Army. There's no way that I can write.
NCO's a what?
Non-commissioned officer. So there's no way that I can write where I feel comfortable writing from an officer perspective. I write from being done many of the things that I talk about in the book.
Well, that's
More on
because
the
you have real life
yeah,
experiences and you speak in 1 to 2 syllable words. But go ahead.
yes, and I can navigate on the map. So,
Lieutenant? Yes.
so
I'm sorry, go ahead.
The War on the Porch is based on a true story, true individual that was blinded in an artillery attack the Marne, July 15th through the 18th of 1918, Second Battle of the Marne. So I kind of, used that took my, my discretion, and I wrote a historical fiction about it. And it's about a soldier who was blinded by artillery, but has never told this story because he was told by General Pershing himself, don't tell the story because nobody's ever going to believe you. They think you're crazy, so don't. So he kept that hidden and to himself, even from his wife, until July 1968, the 50th anniversary of World War I, where he told a reporter from the Arkansas Gazette who he was very hesitant initially about talking about it. But when he found out that Gordon was a World War II veteran, P-38 pilot shot down, and that his father died in World War I, but was never recovered. So then he kind of opened up and they build this thing. And the story that he tells it's before special operations. It's before Green Beret. It's before SEALs. This when ordinary soldiers did extraordinary feats of bravery and heroism. And as he's telling the story, Gordon tells his story. He has to let some things out. He's been holding it in since World War II. So they start healing each other. And it's a testament to a wife's love for her husband who was blinded in World War II. They got married after he was blinded. She could have easily left him and went on someone else before they were married, but she didn't do that. And she stuck with him. And that's Pauline. And it takes place all on a porch in Ball Knob, Arkansas. And there's some significance to Ball Knob, Arkansas. That's where my grandparents and my dad was from. And I used their porch as that place to have that conversation because, back in the day, you get together with your grandparents or great grandparents and parents, and you would tell stories on the porch. That's where the center of things were. Now it's the kitchen, most likely, right? So I incorporated that in there, and I wanted to tell it from that perspective of a story that the bond between soldiers is so strong that you trust them no matter what. You trust them if you're blind. You trust them to get you back.
Yeah. It's such a wonderful setting. Americana, down to earth, touch grass setting on the porch like that. And then to be able to convey the connection that two soldiers can have, I can really tell you from firsthand experience how deeply connected that can be and how important it is. Without going into any more of that, why do you think that men back then didn't talk about it? I mean, I understand in your story, General Pershing, gave an order, but by and large, when you go from World War I to World War II to Vietnam, they didn't talk about it when they got home. Now we write books about it. We write books about our experience. What happened? The difference there.
I think at the time it may have been where men didn't want to seem weak or anything affected them. They were so centered on taking care of their family and being successful. I don't think they want anything to defer from that. And at times, maybe they didn't think that their wives or families were emotional enough to be able to understand that, what happened to them, what they saw, what they did, what they were ordered to do, what they saw other people do. And I think through time that, I worked with a guy in the Army that was in World War II, Korea, and Vietnam. Very seldom ever talked about it. First Sergeant Pond. I remember the guy. Very seldom talked about it, but I know he had stories. I wish I would have just asked him. But I think that's what's. And now we're more into okay. It's not. I'm not less of a man. I'm not less of a person. I'm not less of a soldier or Sergeant, Marine, Airman, whatever. I can talk about my feel. I can talk about what happened because I think when I talk about it, that may help somebody else. And I think now. And it's not a competition whose experiences are more than the others. It's never been a competition. And you enlisted, you never unenlisted. It's a community, it's a family that's willing to help each other. And I think that's what's real. No matter if I talk to a soldier that's my son, for example, right? If I talk to him about his experiences, when he was in the Army, or I talk about my uncle who was in Vietnam, or I talk about anybody else, I'm a platform to listen. And they're a platform for me to talk. And I think that's what's important. And I think we just started to act like, you know what? I never got out, and I'm going to let you in.
No, you never do leave.
No.
I just found out last night that a couple of guys who I was in Desert Storm with are coming out here to Northwest Ohio. It's the 35th anniversary of the notification that we're getting deployed, and it's nice to know that they're still out there, those guys. And I think your story is going to convey that connection to maybe, hopefully, to some people who don't have that connection or don't understand it. And if they want to try, because everyone out there, even now, still has uncles, great uncles, fathers, grandfathers who are just like the people in your story. They still embrace that. And to get a look inside, you can have an opportunity to do that with this book. And then for those of us who do understand, this book, War on the Porch, is a chance for us to all get a different perspective, go back a little further, especially when we're talking World War I trench warfare, and then the World War II experience from Gordon, the reporter. So I love what you're doing here with this 20th century war stories. And is this your focus now, or are you going to go back to thrillers like Cobalt and some of the other stuff that you've done?
There's so many great thriller writers out there that I want to focus on this, and I'm going to initially the World War One. So I'm doing a book on every unit that I served in that served in World War One. So I've served in the 1st Infantry. That was one of 4. War on the Porch is 3rd Infantry. Then I'm going to do a Armored Cavalry Regiment, which actually landed with Pershing. We're the first soldiers really there. So I'm going to do one of them, and then I'm going to do a World War II. Korean, Vietnam, Desert Storm, Cold War, do all those, and I'm going to connect them all.
Oh, this is
somehow.
So cool. Yeah.
So if you read like one of 4, and then you read War on the Porch, you go, I know who Camilla protected, and it all goes back. But you'll never ever find out on all the books you'll never find out who that soldier this diary in World War One. You'll never ever figure it out, because I still don't know, and I'm writing the books.
Yeah, I still don't know I'm writing the book. Well, right here's one of 4. I don't have the other one up here yet on my Kindle, but people can grab this on Kindle right now. You can get one of 4 right now, and then War on the Porch is coming out. You can grab that now too, and it'll show up in your Kindle the day that it comes out on the 16th. So why are these stories important, Travis? I love that you're doing them. I love your approach and the arc of connecting all of them, and I love the personal connection that you're threading together with the units that you've served in. But why are these stories important to everybody else?
I think we oftentimes forget exactly the significance of World War One for right now with the books that I'm writing right now, and I want to be able. These men and women that served, right? There's 4.1 million people that served the military during World War One, and there was women. They weren't in combat roles, but some served in nursing and things like that, right? Support the war effort. That they are the parents to the greatest generation. Think of that. They're the parents of the greatest generation ever. And how these people, these men and young men, go over a trench in a hail of bullets and continue to move, right? And all this. So I wanted to be able to tell their story, because I want to be able to put it back into patriotism. I think we've lost some of that. It's just I want to give, we need to be proud of our country, because we did some marvelous things to help the cause of freedom throughout, 20th century and 21st century. But I want to be able to put that, and I want to be able to show non-people that have never been in the military but have, family that has been in there, or just the experience that they might have had, and the connection to read the book and go hug your grandfather.
Yes. Yeah. The next book I write has something to do with that whole concept of how many times, if you put a number on it, do you think you'll see your grandfather in the course of your life or his?
Oh, yeah.
Put a number on it, an actual number, 4, is it 6? Value each one of those times.
Yes.
Yeah. And so
I agree.
I highly support Dossier Endorsed and Dossier Improved here for what you're doing, and can't thank you enough, and for how you're bringing it all together. So keep up the good work. Good luck with the move from Texas to Arkansas. I know the Kroger is going to miss you, man.
I know. And they told me, so I'm going to come down and do just to come down, because I'd like to get the book in other hands.
Travis Davis shows up at Kroger's with a table of books and sells them. So you go to Kroger somewhere.
I'm a starving
Keep
artist.
looking. Starving artist. Well, look up Travis Davis, travisdavis.com, travisdavisbooks.com. What's your website?
Author Travis Davis.
Author travisdavis.com. Look, everything's on there. I was there this morning. And also, you can go to Amazon. You can go look him up and follow him on social media. What's the best platform to follow you on social media, dude?
I would say probably either Instagram or X or maybe Facebook. Again, I do what I try to do a weekly book and a beer where I'll get a book and a beer. I'll do one tonight. And then I think I'm going to actually do something where I'm going to talk about the reference materials that I used to write my World War I book.
There you go. There you go. Well, I hope to see a nice Rhineland beer or Schwarzwald. Bring something nice out, and
I do like some beer.
Keep doing what you're doing, man.
Yes, sir.
We love it, and the dossier will always be here for you. So really
Thank
appreciate
you.
it.
Appreciate it. Thank you very much.
My pleasure, man. Thanks a lot for joining us. This is the Dossier Podcast. Go to thewritersdossier.com. Look up Travis Davis' dossier. Go to his website, authortravisdavis.com. Follow him on social media. Bells and buttons. Follow and subscribe and share. Thanks, everybody. See ya.
Auf Wiedersehen.
The Dossier Podcast is a production of The Idea Academy.